This article comes from Den of Geek UK. It's a strange time in the world of physical discs. Whilst companies such as Arrow and Criterion continue to invest time, money and care into beautiful, crafted, and collectible releases, there's a growing feeling that the era of the physical disc is coming to an end. DVD and Blu-ray sales are falling, some titles bypass disc altogether and go straight to streaming services. Furthermore, extra features are becoming less the norm and more a bit of a luxury. Then there's the small matter of Ultra HD Blu-ray, a new disc format that's making a little headway, but struggling to really break through. Yet if there's a release that would give the physical disc industry a real shot in the arm, it's the original Star Wars cuts. Those long-cherished theatrical releases from the 1970s and 1980s, that have only been released once on DVD, and then in a fairly shabby state, a transfer from Laserdisc materials, rather than film negatives, and instead been usurped by the Greedo-endorsed special editions. Never have they seen 1080p, yet alone 4K. Join Amazon Prime, watch thousands of movies and TV shows anytime, start free trial now. Even those special editions, of course, don't stand still. Since George Lucas first unleashed his initial batch of alterations in the back end of the 1990s, there have been gradual further changes. The versions of Star Wars original trilogy that you can get on Blu-ray duly feature Hayden Christensen popping up at the end. Just to remind you of how coarse and irritating sand is, in case you'd forgotten. When Disney bought Lucasfilm up in 2012, it unlocked the current generation of Star Wars films that we've been enjoying this past year or two, and took a little time in doing so. Furthermore, there was hope that, with George Lucas now retired, the studio would release the original cuts of the films on Blu-ray. We don't think we're going out on a limb to suggest that these are the most widely demanded catalog Blu-ray titles left to release. It's little secret that George Lucas was always the stumbling block, viewing the special editions as the definitive cuts of his movies, and thus the ones he wanted out there. And, to be fair to him, he paid for them, he made them, they are his films, or at least were his films. That was always his right. Granted, he's made comments about the state of the negatives of the original theatrical versions, and how it'd be too expensive to give them a full restoration. But nobody was buying it then, and nobody buys it now. Still, trashing George Lucas is a sport we don't want to get involved with. After all the joys his film work has given us, he deserves more than that. Back to the problem in hand, though. Nearly 5 years after that Disney, Lucasfilm deal, the original cuts of Star Wars on Blu-ray remain notable by their absence. There's not even been an official murmur of them. Granted, there have been quality assembly cuts put together by fans online, in 720p resolution, the legality of which is roughly in line with what you'd expect. Yet as we approach the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, the hope was that a fresh disc, and theatrical, release, and possibly even an Ultra HD 4K Blu-ray release, would be on the cards. One aside here, more a point of order than a big obstacle. As I understand it, 20th Century Fox still holds rights to the first Star Wars film, A New Hope. Back in the mid-1970s, Fox put up some of the funding for A New Hope, and co-produced the movie, thus getting rights as part of the deal. Lucasfilm wouldn't have enough independence to take fuller control until The Empire Strikes Back, which it could fund, ironically, off the back of the merchandise revenue it got, when Fox let Lucas have the rights to that as part of the original Star Wars deal. As such, while Disney owns rights to every other Star Wars movie as part of its Lucasfilm deal, Fox continues to have its stake in A New Hope. Disney and Fox have come together on box sets before, though. Disney had the UK rights to Die Hard with a Vengeance, for instance, whereas the other 3 Die Hard films, and the John McClane cosplay movie A Good Day to Die Hard, are Fox-owned. That didn't stop a box set being cobbled together. Fox would certainly be up for a deal, so that's not a major stumbling block. But other stumbling blocks there clearly are. Last year, though, it seemed like there was progress. For Rogue One director Gareth Edwards revealed that a new 4K scan of Star Wars: A New Hope had been put together. It's believed, contrary to initial hopes, that said scan was for the special edition, not the original cut. What's more, the Digital Bits is reporting it's the latest special edition that Disney has prepared. But the Digital Bits, an excellent site, that we heartily recommend, also has some interesting further info, too. It reports comments from Disney's Director of Library Restoration and Preservation, Theo Gluck, who